place that light is afraid to touch, where the monsters beneath your bed and hiding behind your fear refuse to travel. Do you dare? Is your mind capable of the sights you will see? Is your body prepared for the sounds you will hear? Is your spirit up to the challenge of what you soon may feel? If so, have a seat with the seductress of the dark, Sarah Terror, the Sultan of Sadism, Chunky Larry, and the Clown Prince of Fear, R.Lee Grind. This is the Ghoul Kids Table.
Greetings, fellow insomniacs. I am not your friend and fright Chunky Larry. If you can't tell, I am Miss Sarah, TragicRawr of the Ghoul Kids. Mr. Larry is out on assignment this week. But with me, I do have one of my favoriteest clowns of all time, Mr. R.Lee Grind. What you doing today, bud?
Me, honk honk, motherfuckers. I'm doing well. I'm doing well, and yes, we are short a Larry today.
We are short of Larry. We haven't been unsupervised in quite some time. I'm really excited about it.
I mean, this could go somewhere great, or it could go into tragic Arlie Saurus Rex territory, and but that could also be that could also be a good thing. So
it could be a good thing as well.
This is a great thing because we get to chat about a really great movie.
We do get to chat about a really great movie. And do you know why we picked this movie for this particular week?
Because you get to spend an all-inclusive weekend with J-Lo and Ben Affleck.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. It's
No,
your birthday.
it's not even close. Yes, it's my birthday. So we do like to we like to share the picks for the movies. And as soon as March was around the corner, I went, okay, well, for this week, it's my birthday week. Because yes, I'm one of those white girls that it's my birthday all that week. I picked.
Wait, you're white?
Allegedly.
Oh, okay. I don't see
a little
colors,
bit.
So I don't see colors.
So I picked a very unique movie, and I feel like this is a movie that got overlooked in its time, and it's definitely a favorite of mine, and that is 2000's The Cell.
Yes.
Before we go any further, anybody who is listening, if you've seen this movie, you know this movie is dealing with a lot of triggering topics. So with that being said, we will be discussing all of these throughout this entire episode. But because this is a rough watch, I just would feel better if we put that little trigger warning ahead of time. So.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we have a lot of abuse, um, and there's content in this film that if you draw a line in the sand for certain types of abuse, you might want to just skip it, and you don't have to listen to us. You can stop listening right now, but if not, please join us on our adventure
and journey, as it were. So starting off with this movie, again, this is a favorite of mine. As weird as that sounds, considering the subject matter, the best way I can describe this movie, if you like visually striking horror. So if the movie What Dreams May Come was a dreamscape, The Cell is a full-on nightmare. And we very rarely get a chance to actually get inside the mind of a serial killer.
literally.
Literally.
get inside the mind of a
Do
serial
we
killer.
have an MDibles?
I do. I have got it all pulled up and ready for you. See, I'm
You're the
prepared. I'm
best.
prepared. Going blind right now. Oh, Jesus. Hold, please.
Hold, please.
Oh. Okay, that's better. All right, let's jump right into these MDibles, and I'm going to make a full screen adjustment here. Perfect. An FBI agent persuades a social worker who is adept with a new experimental technology to enter the mind of a comatose serial killer in order to learn where he has hidden his latest kidnapped victim. I think it's a great. It's short. It's concise.
It's
It
short.
doesn't-
It's sweet.
It doesn't prepare you for the mind trip that you're about to experience, which I think makes it fun. So 2000, we're both in adult ages or stages. Close enough. Close enough. Um, did you get a chance to see this in the theater?
No, and if this was one that was coming back to the theater, I would hop, skip, and jump my happy ass to see it. I would have killed to see this in theater. This is not only is this really
I saw it 4 times in the theater.
not
I
only is
liked
this
it that much.
this is a visual treat, but the score and everything around it, like to see this in theaters, I feel like this one would be a holy shit, what did I just experience type of theater.
Yeah,
movie.
I saw it opening weekend twice because there were parts. So I mean, we'll get into details about it, but there's moments that don't linger very long, and so it's almost a blink if you'll miss it. And so that's why I went back the next day and I was like, I got to watch this again because I need to see a little more of that. And then I saw it the following weekend or I saw it a Friday and then a Saturday. Uh, and I took a couple friends with me. I was like, hey guys, we should go check this out. The selling point for them was J Lo.
I think the selling
And-
point for a lot of people was
Yeah. And but I remember them actually saying, "Holy crap, that was a freaky movie." But they liked it because it's what Dreams May Come meets Seven
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of ways.
Very much so. And we've only had a few movies throughout history that would go this far with something, and usually they touch more on the sci-fi aspect of things, like the movie Brainstorm with Christopher Walken, and that was recording sensory stuff from the brain, and even that's so like these are all experimental, we're probably not there at all in the really real world, so being able to flesh this out in a movie, pun intended, it it's just something you don't think about now. And I would like to add too that the true crime industry itself is massive, and we've always had, how many documentaries have we had on serial killers, how many movies, how many TV shows, how many, this is always going to be unique because it actually puts you in that mindset of what is this killer thinking, and what is in his brain. And that's
Yes.
all the true crime industry is trying to figure out how these people work.
But they do it for this film. They do it in such a way that it's a cinematic experience, and so it's not just flashbacks to memories, or so Mindhunter, I don't know if you're a fan.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we get like BTK. We got, we get to see him in action, and then you got kind of see that. And I think that does a really good job of tapping into that psychological aspect of what's going on in the mind of a serial killer through the interviews and everything else. This actually takes you to a whole nother level. And
The term elevated horror gets thrown around flippantly.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
elevated. This is artsy. This is something that
I hate that term So,
I know you do.
but
I had to say
if
it just
but
because you
if
hate it.
I know, but if any film deserved that name or that word, that phrase, uh, it would be this one. Absolutely. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I think
Oh, where should
starting
we where should we
I don't
start?
even know where to start. Like
I
this is one of those movies. Let's start real quick since we were talking about it. You and I are of remembering age of the year 2000.
Mhm.
So The Cell was overlooked. We can both agree on that one, right?
Yeah.
That was overlooked. I can honestly not remember the first time I watched this movie. I really tried. I really tried to remember. And you know me, usually I have a story or some sort of something to go along with, oh, you got Coca-Cola.
I do. I don't know why. Like a Coke sounded good. I needed a Coke.
Oh
Uh,
man.
just drink Coke.
So if we like let's take a little trip back to 2000. The movies, the horror movies that came out in 2000 are iconic, and it's no wonder that this kind of got overlooked.
But at the same time, American Psycho, which also came out in 2000, that was kind of overlooked too.
Right.
So, and then just not just horror in general, but cinema. I mean, we were Y2K, so now it's everything was just like exploding onto the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
And so films like American Psycho, films like The Cell, films like Memento, these films are very easily overlooked because they're not just, hey, look at me, waste 90 minutes. It's an actual cinematic experience.
And a lot of I miss some of the year 2000 because of that. I miss some of the late 90s early 2000s cinema experience because I don't know if maybe it was just because we were there at the time, but it felt like there was a lot of effort being put into, even if people didn't see a lot of these movies. People in our community, the horror community, once we latched onto something, it's ours. Like this is our favorite now, forever and ever.
Yeah.
One of the largest horror movies to come out in a long time. Final Destination came out in 2000. So you mentioned American Psycho. Scary Movie came out in 2000.
I'm looking at a list right
I am
now.
too, and it's
Uh
insane.
yeah, so we had let's see, we had Scream 3, you had Ginger Snaps, Bruiser, which Bruiser is a personal favorite of mine. I really Pitch Black, What Lies Beneath, Hollow Man,
Mm-hmm.
Dracula 2000,
Requiem
uh
for a Dream.
yeah, uh Bless the Child.
That's a good one.
Really? I kind of
I liked it.
yeah. Oh, we got a clown movie, Killjoy. We got two clown movies. We got Vulgar that came out that year too. Yeah, so we 2000 was a very, very interesting year. And oh, Hellraiser Inferno also came out.
Mhm.
I await the comments for that one. So yeah, but it's kind of, I don't want to say it's easy to see why the cell would get overlooked, but I mean, it kind of is. Uh, Final Destination took the nation by storm,
Right.
and that is a really fantastic movie. It is a feature length, uh, uh, newer, fresher, more invigorating Twilight Zone episode. That you get, and I saw that in the theater too. And
Mm-hmm.
Chef's Kiss. Actually saw a lot of these movies in the theater. Uh, but yeah, and
So one of the things that I love about The Cell is that it's very reminiscent of Silence of the Lambs. And Silence of the Lambs was only 10 years prior to that.
and then you had Seven.
And you had
Like
seven.
Seven, yeah. So
And these are for very specific horror movies that you're like, I don't know if you have to have a weird sadistic side in order to love these movies or what, or just morbid curiosity.
uh, I that's a good question. I think for the casual horror fan, I don't think that The Cell would really resonate with a casual horror fan. I think it would resonate more with a true crime horror fan, or not horror fan, a true crime fan, because that element of true crime, FBI agent chasing down serial killer, trying to
Mm-hmm.
find the victim. You have that story. Like if you took out the cool stuff, that visual spectacle, that fantastical visual journey, cinematic journey that we get to go on. If you took that out, it would still be a great movie.
Mm-hmm. It
Like
would still, yes, it would
it'd
still
still
stand
be
up.
good.
It really would.
Yeah, yeah.
Starting off at the beginning of the movie, you're greeted with visually, if you know nothing about this movie, you're like, why is J-Lo in a really pretty dress walking through a desert?
Those wide shots are some of my favorite shots of the movie
It's
because
stunning.
you have the blue sky, the
Mm-hmm.
sand, and there's just this white dress, and on a big screen, she's like this big, but you just have these giant dunes, and it's just so beautiful. Like you could play some Enya music
Yeah.
against that background,
Yep.
And the cinematographer was a music video. He works on a lot of music videos.
Right.
This whole movie feels like a music video
This whole movie feels like a Manson video
or a Nine Inch Nails,
or Nine Inch Nails.
or which is weird because he didn't work on with any of those artists. Um, but yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, and I'm glad you brought up that opening scene because that was one of my notes. Was this kind of already those opening scenes in the desert, and as she approaches the
And the
log,
music
and
playing, and you're like,
yeah,
what am I watching? I'm not sure, but I'm intrigued.
and I know I'm about to go on a trip.
Mm-hmm. And this is a trip indeed.
And let's talk about the score just for a second.
Absolutely.
Howard Shore, Oscar winner, who worked on Silence of the Lambs and Seven,
Mm-hmm.
and The Fly.
Yep.
Like he's got an impressive resume. But this score in particular, I went through YouTube, and I listened to a bunch of his scores. This one is very unique. You
Mm-hmm.
can tell it's Howard Shore, but at the same time, he he went artsy. He went off the rails a little bit with this score, and it blends so well, especially that opening scene, uh the horns,
Mm-hmm.
and oh, I can't remember the instrument. It's a it's a Middle Eastern
Very, very
guitar.
Middle Eastern
Yeah.
vibe, and it just, I don't, it just all works. Like, even if you don't like any, if you take one of these elements and just like separate it, it won't work. It all had to work together with those beautiful shots. And again, as the viewer, you're like, what is happening? And where are we going? Where are we going, bud? And just to touch on this, we start off the movie with these shots, that score, the music, everything, and you're just like, something cool is about to happen. I just know it.
And you
And
don't know what you're watching.
you have no clue what you're watching.
A
All you
genre,
know is
anything.
that Jenny from the block.
Oh, J-Lo.
I had to. Sorry.
J-Lo. Jenny from the block. Oh,
You and I touched on this earlier this week, but this was right around the time that Jennifer Lopez's career was taking off in multiple different directions. So at one point in time, she was a dancer, and then she was she was an actress, and then
a music artist.
this is right around this time, and I can't remember if it was 98, 99. I want to say 99 is when she came out with her first album. So she was hot shit when this movie came out.
Which, and we'll get to that point
Mhm.
uh in our discussion. Uh but it makes sense why they would cast J-Lo in this role.
Mhm.
Triple threat, kind of. Uh as an artist, and you know you're gonna get butts in the seats for J Lo,
Hmm.
and so good on the studio, but we'll get to that point later, and I'll expand on my thoughts a little
So
bit.
J-Lo is a social worker that works with kids, but you get this whole entirely different viewpoint of everything with this movie, which is something that I absolutely adore. And instead of working with these kids on the outside in these broken homes, she's actually going into this child's mind and trying to talk to him. He's been in a catatonic state for a while. And his parents, who are funding this experimental technology to try to get their kid to wake up and to be okay. And so you get to see a very interesting side with J-Lo in this role. I can honestly say anytime she was talking to a child throughout this movie, her voice is absolutely angelic, and I love it.
If you're having a bad day, you want that J-Lo to say,
You want
it's
that
gonna be
J-Lo to
okay.
talk to you.
Yeah,
and
because this is gonna make you feel good.
I'll sit in a room, cry or something, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll just think of J-Lo in the cell.
Yeah,
That's
no.
probably not appropriate.
I mean, it depends. I'm sure a lot of people thought of J-Lo in the cell in different ways. Uh, yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Too.
So she in this movie, she's talking to Edward in this after this beautiful opening scene. And Edward is a kid. Again, he's stuck in his own mind and she's trying to get him back out. This is where things, you're already in a journey at this point in time. So we're in somebody's brain. Fantastic. I don't know about you, R.Lee, but wouldn't it be interesting to take a peek inside some of our brains?
No.
No.
I do not want anyone poking around up here. Like, I'm just gonna, his spoiler warning, it's gonna be balloons, grease paint, oversized shoes, and lots of mayhem.
In the distance, there's a beautiful voice echoing candy corn.
Candy corn, cocktails, rivers of booze.
All you hear in mine is hi.
Oh shit. So that opening, we go from this beautiful landscape and this interaction between, I'm not impressed with the visual or the VFX on the kid's face. Which
he turns into that little monster mucky look.
Yeah, he kind of looks like, it kind of reminded me of that System of a Down video.
Yes, Ariel's.
Yeah.
No.
Ariel's.
Yeah,
I think it was. But then we cut away to a dingy basement with a giant tank, and there's a body floating in the water.
Oh, no.
We go from here to
These
here.
are very. Each scene is starkly different from the last scene. So you go from this beautiful desert, and you're like, "What the hell is going on?" to a very clinically sterile like where J-Lo and that crew is working on with this experimental technology. Which, can we bring up the suits that she's wearing? Very reminiscent of Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula, with the muscle.
Well, it kind of makes sense.
Yes.
I mean, and I'm gonna butcher the name, and I apologize. Aiko. Oh, all right. I do not speak Japanese, so my Aiko Ishikawa. I'm just gonna call her EI.
There you go.
EI. Worked on Bram Stoker's Dracula, and probably was told, I really like that. Can you make that? Can you bring that in? But that's not even the most impressive.
No, we're getting there. We're getting there. So you're going to just hear that a lot throughout this entire podcast we're getting there.
Yeah.
So back to your point about being in a basement.
Yeah.
And there's a tank filled with water and a dead girl. And Private Pile comes out of nowhere.
Well,
I had to do that.
do we see that I can't remember, and I just watched it this morning, so
Yes.
it should be. We don't really get a good look at his face.
He's constantly so Vincent D'Onofrio, who a lot of people only knew at the time from Full Metal Jacket and various
Yeah.
other small parts, or Edgar from Men in Black.
Yeah.
So like just two of the big roles right off the top of my head. And then you see him in this. So what he's doing is he's going to this secluded area, and this is the beautiful part about this movie. We know who the serial killer is right off the bat. There, no bullshit on that one. We don't have to guess. It is Vincent D'Onofrio's character of Starker. He has a very particular process.
MO. His modus operandi.
Sure.
Yeah. His MO is very. It's so great though. Like, not to sound like a demented person, but and for those of you listening that have seen this, I just imagine being locked in a glass box where water slowly gonna sneeze. It's gone. And is it back? It's gone. And you're locked in a glass box, and water starts to fill that glass box. Not just a full on, but slowly over time. It just fills.
What did they say? 40 hours from the time they're
40,
kidnapped?
yeah, 40 hours. So
you're given food and a toilet, and you're in a
sink.
glass box. So where we see this, upon first seeing it, he already has a victim.
Mhm.
She's in, and he's checking on her. He's getting ready to take her out of the tank. She jolts and moves, and what does he do?
Oh, so that is an amazing thing. And this kind of I like true crime. So a lot of serial killers are bothered when their victims do not fulfill whatever desire or fully like make it to that end state. Edward Kemp, Ed Kemper, said that when he one of the girls that he started to kill, when she started to move, it freaked him out. Like, he panicked,
right?
And so it takes them out of that fantasy. It takes them out of that
His is
thrill.
For Starker in this movie, it's almost even a little bit more, because he will not look at them. He was constantly shielding. He only looks at them
after it's done.
And after he takes the girl out of the water, he then bleaches them. Fully bleaches them, essentially turning them into a porcelain doll.
Yeah.
And then you can take it from here, bud.
So he has hooks pierced into his back, his legs, his arm. He likes suspension, and once his dollification #dollification is complete, he suspends over their lifeless corpse and relieves himself sexually while watching the footage that he records while they're in the box. So
I think that is actually something you talk about adding even more insult to injury. Not only are you stuck in a box for 40 hours and you're slowly dying, and there's a little bit of hope maybe that somebody will come get you. You drowned, And then he records the entire 40 hours and then plays it back for his own sexual fantasies.
But he won't. He doesn't touch the body in a sexual manner
Not
at all.
not at
At
all.
all. And actually, even during the process, he, he's very careful. He's treating the deceased with a level of care that is, it's almost tender, and it's very, it's not like a rushed process. He's
Mm-mm.
very careful, and care he's handling the remains gently, um, which just adds a whole nother dynamic. Like you kill these people in a brutal way, in a very, very brutal way.
This is nightmare
Like like
inducing.
like like just stab me, cut my throat or something,
Yeah.
shoot me, whatever. No, he takes it to another level, but then he treats the remains very gingerly, and once he's done his thing, then he just dumps them. Which, we've got a very complex mind that we're dealing with here,
Oh yeah.
and I think that's shown brilliantly in the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we know that we have probably one of the most unique serial killers to ever grace the big screen.
Very unique. And you can hear in every once in a while there's something talking to him.
Mm.
And it's been proven multiple times that many serial killers throughout history, they were either making it up that they were hearing voices, or it couldn't be confirmed or proven.
Looking at you, son of Sam. You made that shit up about the dog. I mean, it was good. It was good, but
Hashtag not my Harvey.
oh,
We have to get some gigglies in here every
yeah,
once in a while, guys, because
yeah.
this is a deep movie. So, and what, but we have to be careful of our jokes with this one.
So let's fast forward. We get a young, strapping Vince Vaughn
We do.
playing a FBI agent, which at this stage in his career, he plays it very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's a believable. Uh, uh,
He's a believable cynic. Like
yeah,
he's very much at like we've talked about it with other movies before of the jaded cop of and boy does he have his character have some interesting stories to tell about why he acts the way he does. But his character, I think, as a little boring here and there, but not boring as in oh god why no there is a reason why things are on. Like I'm not fucking around, I need to find this victim,
yeah,
I need to go. We have a sense of urgency here,
right.
and I found his character very interesting.
And then we catch the bad guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
how about that? How about
we
that SWAT team going in after
oh,
a
but I just want once again, Vincent's performance from in the bathtub, and then when he starts having his attack, that is such an amazing sequence. Like I'm feeling the pain that he is experiencing, and I just thought that was amazingly done.
mm-hmm.
And hats off to this guy. Will always be one of my favorite actors. He did awesome as Kingpin. He was great
Mm-hmm.
as Private Pile. But it's this movie that really seals that those acting chops, because
Because
he
this is
range.
the range here is absolutely phenomenal for everybody involved. Now, you and I both
Mm,
discussed that J Lo
mm,
fell a
mm,
little flat.
a little, a little.
Well, we're
I
being
mean
nice.
that booty ain't flat, but
No,
but
no.
those
Hashtag
acting chops,
bootyful.
bootyful. Hashtag
Bootyful.
bootyful. Uh, yeah.
Got that
Everyone
ass.
everyone in this movie does a fine job. Uh, but yeah, J Lo's a little flat, and she's kind of one dimensional in this film, which sucks. And I guess we're at that part now. I kind of wish I know why the studio made that decision. a film
But
like
also,
this.
think the subject being what it is throughout this entire thing. Good on everybody who was involved in this project, because this is something. It's dark. It's super dark, and a lot of people, maybe in her position, wouldn't maybe take a role like this, to try to make sure that their image stays a certain way, or they get roles, particular roles. So I don't know. I'm on the fence about this. I do agree that her performance was a little flat.
Yeah.
Um,
But she still does a good job.
Yeah.
Like I'm not taking away from, like, she does a good job. And I think that this movie is not hurt by her performance at all.
mm-mm,
Could have been
it's
better.
not
Could have been better with a different actress.
Halle Berry.
But
It's flat.
yeah. No, yeah. 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 She had to go do X-Men, be Storm.
Stupid.
Damn it. Damn it, Storm.
Allegedly.
All right. So, yes, J-Lo's performance a little flat, but we left out a key component that our serial killer Carl has before his
Coral.
Carl. The FBI gets their bad guy, but he has a victim. And they have a time. The FBI has a timeline to find this victim before the victim is no longer.
And I like how we
with
got to
us.
actually see how he captures his victims too. He uses his dog Valentine,
Yeah.
albino shepherd, beautiful, beautiful animal. There was another serial killer that did something similar, and I for the life of me, I can't remember. It's off the top of my head.
There's like 9 million serial killers out there.
True, just in the 70s alone.
Yeah.
So, but poor Carl is Coral. He's in a coma.
Rick Grimes. He's in a Rick Grimes.
It's all coming together now.
Full circle. Carl's Rick Grimes.
So our serial killer has a victim, but he is unconscious. He's catatonic, and they explain in the hospital that there's no getting him out of this. He's done. He's done for. And the doctor who's explaining this, who, I'm sorry, I will always remember that man from Constantine. He's been in 1,500 movies.
Was it 1408?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like him.
I like him too.
I do too.
I like him a lot. And you can see him get the idea of, I may know of a thing.
I know of a way.
I know a thing.
It's a little experimental, but
don't we all love the experimental type shit that comes in, like the stuff that none of us would ever see in the real world. You're like, hey,
I don't know
a guy.
I was in the army. I feel like I got experimented on a lot. Hey, what shot am I getting? Oh, it's just a vaccination.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's fine. God. You're fine.
I can survive a nuclear holocaust. I'm like a cockroach now. My DNA is permanently altered.
So they rush Carl to this institute where J-Lo and the gang have this experiment. Why can't I say this correctly? Like, they have this experimental technology to go inside of his brain. And I thought how they pitched this to the doctors was kind of brutal, but brilliant.
But oh my God, that level of manipulation. Like, here, I'm going to play this footage for you.
And it's of a girl drowning.
But you know what it was? It's her screaming for her dad. Right before she runs out of air, she is asking for her dad to say, like, that's emotional. Like, it hits you, like, and I'm sure most people would think, oh, that's a throwaway scene. No, that's not a throwaway scene.
No. You have people who are working on an experimental procedure, and time is of the essence. This FBI guy comes in, and it's Vince Vaughn being Vince Vaughn. And what do you do? What do you do to get them to say yes to this? And they did.
You humanize the victim, which we
Correct.
don't see in movies a lot.
No.
And it's a really, and when I say it's a beautiful moment, I don't mean like it's gonna make you feel good inside, but it is truly a beautiful moment at that table where we don't just have a body, we have an actual human being.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is like a little detail being thrown into this movie that just makes it so exceptional.
So
Is
long story short, they say yes. And this is where the fun begins.
Oh, do we have any K and K and B fans out there listening right now? Greg Nicotero, um, uh, uh, Berger, is it Kevin Berger? Oh, this is really fine work. J Lo is hooked up to Carl. Carl. Uh, Jenny from the Block is
it was not planned for us to go down this route,
yeah.
but I like how we got here.
Yeah, yeah. It's a journey. It's a journey. So now we have
Welcome to a R.Lee conversation.
yeah. Yeah. Like I said, you guys were in for it. We gave warnings. We warned
We
you.
did.
Um
It's their own fault they're here now.
J Lo is in the Carl's mind,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where the beauty of the cinematography, set design, and everything starts to really build. Um, this brain, this mindscape, if you will, is terrifying without the added elements. Just like I would not walk into that thing by myself. I probably would, but most people would not walk into a place that looked this insane. And we got some what's that painting with the stairs? Fuck.
Crazy
You know,
stairs.
yeah, you know which one I'm talking about though? They're all good. So we have a moment like that.
MC Escher. It's an
Yeah.
MC Escher painting, yeah.
Yeah, and then J Lo finds herself in I call it the dollhouse. I called it the
Mhm.
dollhouse, where we have all of these living dolls on display in various scenarios,
And
and
positions. And
positions, and oh my god, just this scene alone was like it's fucking beautiful.
I will say this is insanely misogynistic. But this is exactly what the serial killer had in mind. And we are in his mind. That's what you have to remember about this. We're not shoving, this isn't how the filmmakers feel about women. This is how the serial killer, the character himself, would view women. And he viewed them as dolls. He put them in a little house with all of their little rooms. And just the mechanics of how they are displayed.
So if you haven't seen this movie, and if you've ever seen the music video Marilyn Manson's Tourniquet,
Mm-hmm.
or even The Beautiful People, like it's very reminiscent of that imagery.
Yeah.
The mechanics and the way they're all kind of done up, and each one is so unique.
Mm-hmm. And each one was a victim of his. And we are J-Lo at this point in time. We are finding this out with her. And she keeps running around. Real quick though, when she wakes up in his mind, I noticed a small detail and I thought this was interesting. I don't know if you caught on to this because you've probably seen this about 1,500 times like I have. Right.
It's been viewed more than once.
It's been viewed a lot. When she wakes up inside Carl's mind before she even gets to the dollhouse, she has a cloth over her face.
with a face on it.
Does it not look like the cloth that had Jesus's face on it?
I don't know about
The
Jesus.
cloth of Turin.
I just know that it had a face on there, and I'm not really
That's
sure.
what it looked like. And the reason why I bring that up is that there is a small element of religious stuff that pops into Carl's backstory. So I kind of found that to be like, maybe somebody could. Did anybody else see this? Or am I imagining shit? Or
let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Because while there's a tidbit of religious elements here, it doesn't. It is not really religious. Basically,
No.
that whole baptism in the river scene is the catalyst for the virus that Carl has in his brain,
Right.
which basically triggers his schizophrenia.
Yep.
So,
Well, then we get a little Carl.
yeah.
We get a little Carl in one of the coolest scenes of the entire movie, and it's the horse room.
The 13 ghost scene.
Yeah.
Oh.
My favorite thing about little Carl. So seeing little Carl, you've got adult Carl, who is yeah.
Okay, so we have the Jeffrey Dahmer adult Carl, because he's got kind of the shaggy, like it just gave me some Dahmer vibes. We have baby Carl, or little kid Carl,
little kid.
But then we have my favorite Carls, and I'm just gonna call him the Overlord Carl.
I like one of the lines that J-Lo actually said, "A king in a very sick kingdom."
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I thought that was
King Carl.
King Carl. So
yeah.
So
yeah, I actually made that
Dahmer
note.
Carl, little Carl,
and King Carl.
King Carl.
Like
a fun. It's like a Pokemon.
Yeah. It's an evolution. I don't know how Pokemon work, but I know that they can like change into bigger, better things. So, yeah. So we have the horse scene, but here's a little bit of foreshadowing. Baby Carl saves J-Lo from being.
Yeah, we're walking around in somebody's brain pan, right? But little Carl is always aware of the danger that they're all in.
Yeah.
And I found that to be quite interesting, that the little kid.
Kids know that shit though.
Yep.
Kids know shit. Like that's something that we never really get to play with too much in movies. Kids know. Kids fucking they're more aware than we are as adults.
After we have a little Carl, and we finally get to see King Carl in the best possible reveal.
Yeah. So we've got an amazing production. We have an amazing production design. We have amazing costumes. We've got special effects. We've got visual effects. Everything comes together to basically introduce our main villain. Like Dahmer Carl is a villain, but King Carl is our main villain.
And King Carl is only restricted by his imagination, which
fucking love.
In the year 2000, seeing King Carl for the first time, and the cape and robes that were wrapped around the entire room.
It's purple. And it's purple. It's purple. And if you all don't know what that means, it means two things. One, royal. Two, someone's gonna die.
Yep.
So, just a little color theory, cinematic color theory for y'all. And it works so well. Like, such a beautiful scene.
It was, and the tension that's built up with the score, with everything, you're just like, oh my god, what is about to happen?
and this isn't even the most beautiful scene.
It's not.
So, long story short, J-Lo freaks out. She does not like what she sees.
Fair.
Which I mean, the doll scene was jarring. Horse being cut up into like 13 different pieces. That's pretty
That was
incredible.
fun. It was fun, like a little puzzle,
Yeah, it was.
right?
Yeah. But then you have King Carl's reveal, and that's her nope. That's her nope moment.
She hit the nope button and ejected herself out, and she's talking to everybody outside, going, "The fuck."
What the fuck just happened? No, no. And she has a little heart to heart with Vince Vaughn, and we get a little in depth with his character in that
Right, and
moment.
there was actually something that I noticed, and I've noticed this a couple of times, but Vince Vaughn's character, as we said, that he's like one of those jaded FBI guy, like he's just like whatever, right? But he used to be a prosecutor, and there he was involved
Oh,
with some
defense attorney. Didn't he work?
defense.
Yeah, he was
No,
at. Yeah, because he quit the DA's office. He says and that's when I quit the DA's office.
are you sure?
I'm almost positive.
Oh,
We will revisit
we
this,
will we will
and
come back to this. That like,
so in the comments you get to tell us. Anyways, so yeah, Vince Vaughn goes from
but he
uh
also says something that really struck me as one of the criminals that got under his skin
Gish.
was it was Gish.
Gish.
And he beat it. He beat the rap because he was insane. And he says something perfectly. I mean, and I I think this is one of those. It was not a throwaway line. It was put in there for a reason. Everything in this movie was done for a reason. And he says a kid can experience 100 times more than what Gish ever experienced and not turn out like that. I think that was insight on his childhood. I think that was insight on exactly why he was in that career. One line gave away so much right there, and I thought it was brilliant.
And for this generation that likes to blame all of their less than honorable attributes on past childhood, listen to that line and think about it
Yeah.
a little bit, because it's far too easy for, oh well, I'm this way because this happened to me. We all make a choice,
Yep.
and that's a really powerful moment, and I'm glad you brought that up. I had it in my notes. I was going to bring it up too. uh, that's a really powerful moment, and it gives us an insight not only into that character, but if we actually listen and hear those words,
Mm-hmm.
to do a little self, do a little self.
So we keep going, and what are we doing? We're going right back into Carl. Hashtag Carl
Hashtag
trip.
hashtag entering Carl, and not the way you would imagine. Um,
No, in a
oh,
weirder way.
in a fucking weirder way.
I
Uh,
love how they brought Valentine in for that second one, his dog. I
yeah.
thought that was cute. Not
Well,
because ooh puppy, but because of the emotional attachment that you have
yeah.
with your animals. Again, everything in this movie is done with purpose. There is a
Right.
reason behind everything that's done. I
And
cannot think of one single thing in this movie that's out of place.
and
Not one.
and we, and we were talking about trigger warnings. We get a peek into Carl's childhood,
Yep.
which is wrought with verbal and physical and mental abuse, and it's kind of tough.
It's
Like
really tough.
it's 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 a tough moment. Um, and again, you go back to Vince Vaughn's line about you can experience and not turn out bad. So now you have two different ideologies
Right.
juxtaposed in this film, and it's disturbing. So if for the listeners, viewers, whatever, if you're bothered by child abuse, this may not be the movie for you, or just skip through that part. I don't think it's crucial in establishing the character that much, but if you just know that he experienced some abuse, ooh, that
It was
that's
rough too. Like
that's
it wasn't just a, slap across the face or anything like that. And
it's not
they
even a
were
belt beating.
unapologetic about showing how deep his abuse went.
Yeah.
And of course it was at the hands of his father. All that kind of nifty stuff. But after we get just that little bit of insight, and it's not necessarily to humanize Carl either. It's just, okay, this is exactly what happened, but it was more to get to, I think, to that baptism.
Yeah.
And I think it was a maybe trying to humanize him, but you're not getting that. You're not humanizing Carl at all.
Or no, and that's weird. It's weird because in some sense, yes, it's a little bit of humanizing, but at the other, but I think to your point, it's more of explaining this young man's journey into
Mhm.
what he became.
Yeah.
Um, and then we
We're
get
constantly going back from little Carl to, at this point in time, for the rest of the movie, we have little Carl and Dahmer Carl.
and
They're
King
always
Carl.
going hand in hand now.
Yeah.
King Carl, you get to look at Dahmer Carl with his first victim,
Oh,
and
yeah.
she actually gets to talk to adult Carl for the first time. She's only talked to little Carl at this point. And then
experience the awesomeness that is, and I don't mean awesomeness in a good way, just awesome in an extreme. We've only had that one interaction with
all
King Carl.
things considered, she has an okay, decent conversation with Dahmer Carl. Like, he's calm and he's collected, and you see him slicing open his first victim, and he was like, I made such a mess. And it was almost like, not nonchalant, but he at that point in time, I feel like regular Carl, Dahmer Carl, knew she was there and was like, oh, she is here to hear me, and started giving her information. And King Carl didn't like that.
No, King Carl, he is a party pooper. He does not like. He likes to butt in to other people's conversations.
Let's face facts here. We've both said that we love this movie. We're both questionable mentally. I will say, when King Carl grabs a hold of J-Lo, it was hot. I don't know why it was hot, but it was.
So this is my favorite out of all the King Carls that we get to see. This is actually my favorite.
Favorite King Carl.
This is what's that band, that techno band in the 90s 2000s, smack my bitch up. Why
Prodigy.
can't I? Prodigy. This is Prodigy Devil Carl, King Carl, and he looks so fucking badass. His
So bad.
movements, like and this again, Vinny is killing it. Vinny is killing the acting.
Every version of Carl is fantastic, but this King Carl in specific, his hair is turned into horns. He's got those huge pants on for some weird reason. And
I'm telling you, Prodigy pants.
It's Prodigy pants.
I'm the fire starter.
And he knocks her down, and he's like a predator, and you see predatorial stuff throughout the entire movie, whether it be in like alligator skin or scales or anything like that. And he slowly moves up her body. I'm gonna just say it was hot. It's hot.
I mean, I'm actually more impressed with the makeup design and how simple it was, but also how.
But it was so effective. It was so good.
So, guys, y'all fucking nailed it in this movie. Mad props to everyone involved. But yeah, that's my King Carl. Like, there's some good ones.
#my King Carl.
That's it. #my King Carl. Hashtag devil prodigy, smack my bitch up, Carl.
Hashtag hot pants, Carl.
Yeah. Oh, and
Holy God. It's at this point in time where she's captured. She's in the dollhouse, weirdly not on display.
yeah,
Mhm.
she is now trapped in Carl's brain. And what can we possibly do to save Jenny from the block? Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn is like, let's go. I'm gonna. We don't need another hero.
you
Enrique
imagine?
Iglesias, I could be the hero.
Oh, hashtag fuck Gabriel. Oh man, weren't him and J-Lo a thing?
Were they?
I don't know.
Remember.
I don't care. Oh my God. So Vince Vaughn goes in, and can you imagine being one of those people that are like, yeah, no, I've never done this at all. Let's do this. Going into somebody's brain.
I would do that.
I know you would.
I would. I'd be like,
I think I would too. I'd be like, yeah, no, yeah. But this is also like on that level of, you know what? I may not be an astronaut or have gone through all the training, but yeah, strap my ass to a shuttle.
I mean, Bruce Willis did it. Bruce Willis did it. He took a whole mining crew up and took out an asteroid. So, yeah. I mean, look, Vince Vaughn is a hero. He is the hero that we didn't ask for, but he's the hero we got.
Correct.
And he actually, like, now you have two people dancing around in Carl's brain.
And we get to my favorite King Carl.
Your favorite and my favorite J-Lo. We get Jabba's palace.
Please, just one. I want that mask. I want that outfit. I want that bedroom. I want. If you were to ask me, Sarah, what is your aesthetic? That
Jabba's palace J-Lo.
Jabba's palace J-Lo. Oh
Hashtag Jabba's palace J-Lo. Yeah, and then you get and that costume for your King Carl.
For my King Carl, like his costume is phenomenal.
Y'all, this is not just a fucking throwaway costume. Someone put their heart and soul into this fucking costume, and it looks beautiful.
And this is the giddy Carl. This is the playful King Carl. This is the one. Okay, this isn't the Predator. This is the all right. And I think he does stuff like this with his hands too.
Yeah, he does, and he's mocking, and he's demeaning, and he knows that he owns. He's in charge of this environment.
When we see our first King Carl, he's like, "Where did you come from?"
Right, like who the fuck are you?
And then we get to this Carl, and this Carl is fully aware people are dancing around in his brain, and he's gonna fuck with them.
And he does.
And he does.
Oh, hashtag bellyache. Oh. So
I love that whole thing. I absolutely love it.
With the seahorses and yeah. Oh, beautifully done. Once again, the effects people. Beautiful.
Dozy dotes, little lampsy divey.
And it's not done graphically or gory, and it doesn't need to be. And it's still effective. And
the entire lighting of that scene, like everything about it is just
it's on fucking point.
It is. I
already know the ghoulies for this, but that'll be fun to get to. Yeah. All right. So we have Royal King Carl. We have Jabba's palace J-Lo, and we have Enrique Iglesias, I Can Be Your Hero, Vince Vaughn. And J-Lo is entranced by King Carl.
She's I think she's used as a pawn at this point. Like King Carl knows he can use her to get our hero. Our
I
hero
put a
Vince Vaughn.
spell on you. Yeah. And then we are introduced to an aspect of J-Lo or Catherine that
We've not used her character name this entire
I mean,
time. I'm
just
It's
sticking with
Catherine, by the way. I'm glad we got to this point.
It's J-Lo. It's Jenny from the block. But we are given insight into what exactly motivated J-Lo to try to do what she does.
Mhm.
We are given a fact about her past that we were not privy to, which makes her character a little less one-dimensional.
Mhm.
It added a little depth.
Yeah.
I'll give it that. It added a little depth, and I kind of fucking love that.
It was pretty awesome. And she gets out of her trance and she attacks that version, Jabba the Hutt, King Carl. Everybody wakes up, or no, poor Peter is Vince Vaughn's character name, by the way. We're terrible.
It's Vince Vaughn.
It's Vince
Enrique Iglesias, I could be your hero, Vince Vaughn.
They end up going into a different part of Carl's brain and seeing the current victim, which I thought was brilliant. I thought it was
so pretty.
So pretty. So pretty.
So pretty.
Yeah. Giant cube in Carl's mind, and she's almost like an albino mermaid, I guess you could say. Yeah. And she's just swimming around. And again, like, I don't think we've said it enough. The costumes and makeup of this movie are phenomenal. And it's just really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah. So Vince Vaughn jumps out of the brain of Carl. J-Lo jumps out of the brain of Carl. Vince Vaughn goes to be Enrique Iglesias. I could be your hero, Vince Vaughn.
Because he figured it out. He figured it out. What's going, like, he's like, I know where she is. And I think that was stretching it a little bit personally, but
though.
But for the sake of time,
there was that little bit of a reveal at the when they first are checking out the house and everything else. So there's a little bit of it makes sense. Like
it made sense. Yeah,
it wasn't a stretch. It wasn't too far of a stretch. That helicopter pilot just knew exactly where to go, though. That's
I thought that was cool.
I know exactly where this is.
I want to be that cool.
I do flybys over here all the time. So Vince Vaughn gets to be a hero again. And J-Lo decides to go back in and save baby Carl.
Right, but real quick, Vince Vaughn gets to be the hero because he does get to that victim in time. Holy shit, barely in time because she's in the box and it's filled with water. But that clever girl she saved herself.
Hashtag clever girl.
Hashtag that's a clever girl. She thought she cleared her head for a second and figured, how the hell am I going to get out of here? And she found a way to survive just long enough. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
That we saw that of one of the victims.
Right. It wasn't just a helpless victim. It was someone that was at least resourceful enough to try and stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a little tension builder. You expect him to come in and be like, bow, 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 bow. Be like, all right, glass it. Nope. And he's like looking around and you're like, oh, wait, is he not going to do this? There's that one moment where you're like, you ain't going to be the hero. Enrique Iglesias is not going to write you a song.
You're not my fucking hero.
There goes my hero. So yeah, and then we
need
have
a hero. I'm holding on to it.
So many hero songs.
So many hero songs.
And they're all dedicated to Vince Vaughn now.
Absolutely.
So
there's no question.
Now we have basically the final confrontation.
Which is
the
awesome.
The final showdown. And this is different because we're no longer in Carl's mind, we're in JLo's mind. She invites
reversed the feed and pulled him into her. Ooh.
Ooh, kinky. Or not kinky?
That's the least kinky thing about this movie, I think.
If someone's a sapiophile, I mean, attracted to brains, yeah, maybe that works. So yeah, so JLo says, "Hey, King Carl, come play in my house for a little bit." And that set, that beautiful goddamn set, like
stunning. It was like a snow globe. It was like so pretty and sparkly and shit.
It's a little weird, that whole Mother Mary, Saint JLo. It's
the Saint JLo I could have done without, actually. Like
we go from Saint JLo to JLo Warrior Princess real quick though.
Hashtag Xena was pissed.
And then her hair, it was like a little Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome hair, kind of poofy and just like
freaking amazing. It's freaking awesome.
Oh, crossbows, and you know what? There's a lot of religious a lot of iconography.
It's sprinkled throughout the whole movie,
but it's not harped on.
No,
and that's what I like. So
there was a movie we just recently watched where there were crosses everywhere for no damn reason, except for to make sure that we knew that there was. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that right now. That's fine.
That episode will be out. It's a little bonus episode. You guys can watch that if you want. It's not going to be quite as engaging as what we have here. But yeah, so the final, I'm going to let you take the lead on this one, because I think you are a little more excited about it than I am.
We get the final battle of JLo and King Carl. And it's just, we get to see little Carl first, and she's comforting him and all that kind of nifty stuff. But then King Carl's like, no, that's my little kid. But JLo's like, no, absolutely not. My world, my rules.
But we get court jester.
We get springy Carl.
Yeah.
We get springy King Carl.
That is such a fun Carl.
That's a fun Carl, because
I am down.
He comes out of that little pool and he's got that big ass like scaled cape.
Yes.
And that is badassery at its finest. But you have JLo, who was Mother Superior 2 seconds ago, right? And all of a sudden she's decked out in badassery, and you're like, there's too much badass going on in one scene, honestly. And it's still pretty for some weird reason. That's confusing.
It's pretty, and it's frightening, and it's all these different things wrapped up, and it works so fucking well.
Was it awesome to see King Carl get the shit absolutely, like, he got his ass handed to him by Jenny from Jenny on the Block, right?
Yeah,
Jenny from the Block. Because we know King Carl did some disgusting shit. We know he did some horrific, disgusting shit. So it was satisfying. It was really satisfying to see him kind of get his right. Especially the nipples.
Yeah. Hashtag 7 Deaths Concert 2005. I can relate. So I was in the pit and I had a nipple ring ripped out. So I didn't even notice. I didn't even fucking notice until someone looked down at my shirt. They're like, dude, I think you're bleeding. And I looked down. I was like, oh shit, I just lost the nipple. So hashtag R.Lee has a deformed nipple. Not that deformed. It's not like gross or anything. Yeah. So no. You
gotta warn somebody before you bring up a story.
Oh no, I'm just throwing it out there. Hashtag R.Lee's deformed nipple.
Hashtag can't honk.
Hashtag thank you, Seven Dust. That was a great show, though.
That had to have been awesome.
Yeah, it
Anyway.
was. Yeah. Back. Coming all the way back.
Beautiful. Beautifully done.
Yeah. Circle back. To circle back.
The worst part about this, the worst part about all of the satisfying violence that's being done to King Carl, it's also being done to baby Carl.
And Dahmer Carl.
And Dahmer Carl.
Yeah. But it's Dahmer Carl, which I find very, very poetic.
Mm-hmm.
Dahmer Carl insists that J-Lo end it right then and there. And there is something. So it's like the serial killer stories that we've heard of people wanting to be caught a little bit because they knew they can't stop themselves.
Right.
And so that's an interesting, and we could probably spiral into a 2-hour long discussion about the psychology behind that, is wanting to be stopped and not having the wherewithal to stop oneself. And it makes sense. And even Vince Vaughn says at some point in time early on in the movie that he wants to be caught.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it this movie is just all the pieces fit.
Like I said, everything in this movie was done with intent. Every line, everything. Like I cannot think of one thing, not one. That
I mean, I could talk probably for about an hour, 2 hours on color theory and the way it was used in this film.
It was beautiful.
But I don't want to do that. I don't want to bore everybody. So just go watch the film and then you can like hit us up.
We
on
absolutely want to hear everyone else's commentary on this movie too. Like, please, for the love of all that is holy, we don't need another Scream review. Please review The Cell instead.
But that being said, if you come at me with The Cell sucked, I'm going to make you defend yourself.
Absolutely.
If you are going to say something like that, if you are going to be so contrarian, if you are going to be so, well, I don't know.
And don't give me that shit. Oh, it doesn't age well. Yes, it does.
It does. It really does.
Oh my God.
And how weird is it that, I mean, we're not really there at that point in the story, but we kind of are. The serial killer lived across the street from school. And that, it's weird. Like, that just makes me like, that's like one of those little details that they put in at the very end. It's like, oh shit. Now I'm like, oh, that makes me nervous now.
Why you don't go on the like Megan's Law site and see where something, yeah. So
yeah.
But like, yeah, if somebody does come out and say this movie sucks, I will happily attack them.
I won't attack you, but I will invite you to a live and I will ask
absolutely
you,
no, like I won't attack any. Yeah, everybody, no, people know I won't attack them, sort of. But I would love to have a debate about it. I would absolutely love to have a debate about it.
If you thought this movie sucked, I want to know why in detail, not just that it sucked.
Yeah.
Like, please explain to me why it sucked.
And we said from the beginning that J-Lo's performance fell flat.
Right.
So you need to bring more.
but even with that performance, this movie still is exceptional.
It is. So on that note, let's give this thing some ghoulies. And you can go first.
Oh, no. I insist.
Oh, no, sir.
Oh, no.
Oh, come on.
First. Ladies first.
It's my birthday. I say what goes. You go first.
Fuck.
Ah!
Hashtag fuck. Okay. So we have spent almost 2 hours gushing it's gonna be over 2 hours gushing over this movie, and I cannot give this a bad Ghoulie rating. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. Even with J-Lo's bootyful flat performance. And like I said, I don't think she did horrible in this movie. So yeah, I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. If I could, I'll give that fifth Ghoulie nipple rings. 5 out of 5 with
I
Ghoulie
like
nipple
that.
rings.
I really like that idea.
Yeah.
And it gives everybody something to think about. Ghoulies with nipple rings.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
nipple rings and some sort of tassel. Anyway. So I think, yeah, you and I have gushed over this for a long time. Who didn't see that coming, by the way?
Right.
Come on.
Hashtag don't leave us unsupervised.
Yep.
So, what you get. This is what you motherfuckers
happens.
get.
But we are a delight and a nightmare. Some would call us a delightmare.
Delightmare. We are Delightmare.
So my Ghoulies, I love this movie. Like, it's dark. It's terrifying. It's claustrophobic. Like, there's so many things about this movie that inspires so many different emotions. It hits every emotion, weirdly enough. I gotta give this. I'm gonna go a little bit lower. I can't give it a 5 out of 5 because of J-Lo, and I'm gonna go with a 4.5 out of 5. And it's gonna be the top half for boobs. No, I lied. It's gonna be the bottom half because bootyful, right? Hashtag bootyful. But I adore this movie. I absolutely adore this movie.
Just so everyone knows, this proves that R.Lee is the kindest rater on this. You guys are harsh. You guys are so harsh.
That wasn't harsh, and you know it.
I mean, this gets a 5 out of 5 for me, just for King Carl alone.
I will say King Carl, 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Okay. The costume, the colors, everything used in the 5 out of 5. Everything was 5, right? Everything except for J-Lo.
So, Jenny, get back to that block.
Yeah.
Stay out of our heads and get to the block.
No one wants you turn around in there. Anywho, so
yeah, no, that's fair. That's a fair ranking. I get it.
Yeah, I think it's fair. So I have had a wonderful time with you today, sir. It is always a pleasure and always a treat. Where can people find you?
Oh, I don't want you to find me, people. Don't find me. No, I'm joking. No, come find me, please. And if you wear a red hat and you talk that shit on the internet, please come find me.
They probably hate the cell too. So.
I bet they do. I don't get it. Just trash. That's trash. That ain't boobs. That's trash. Donald Trump. Yeah. Motherfuckers.
Give your socials, Dippy.
You can find me on TikTok, R.Lee Grind. You can also find Top Shelf Horror on TikTok at Top Shelf Horror. You can find me on Twitter, R.Lee TSH. You can find me on Instagram, Top Shelf Horror. You can find me on Facebook, Top Shelf Horror. You try to add my personal account, I will send you a message and not make you feel good.
I think that can be said for pretty much all the Ghoul kids. Don't come after our personal accounts, please. We don't like it. We're not fans of it. So
yeah. And then we have a Discord, Ghoul Kids thing.
Yeah. So you can find me on the Tickum Talks at TragicRawr.
RAWR.
I'm gonna
Cincinnati.
I'm gonna get you pom poms one of these times because I love how you spell this. And as far as the Ghoul Kids, you can find us everywhere. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTubes, all the things. Like R.Lee said, we have a Discord. All you have to do is go to the link in our bio to get the link to join. And with that being said, for me,
hold on.
R.Lee,
we got Larry. He's not here with us.
Larry's
but-
not here with us, and Larry always forgets to say where he's at.
Yeah.
And then
So-
sure shit, we forget it as well. Yeah.
So let me. So you can find him on TikTok. It's the only one that's different. It's Chunky's Creature Features.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. He is at Creature Pod. So he's not
Perfect.
with us today, but
He's with
he
us
is
in spirit.
Spirit.
And he's with us in spirit.
Spirit.
And with that spirit driving me, on behalf of R.Lee, the spirit of Chunky Larry, all of the King Carls, and even the baby Carl, this has been an amazing episode. And like always, there might be a seat for you at the table, but we get kind of gatekeepery about it.
Nah, there's always a seat. You can
There's
sit on my
always
lap.
a seat. Always a seat.
Sit on my lap. Sit on my lap.
Don't put that out there.
Sit on my shoulders too. Just be like a conglomerate. I'll just have a bunch of people sitting on
You
me.
can be like a springy King Carl.
Yeah. Woo. So come sit with us and on us at the Ghoul Kids table. Hashtag don't sit on Roar. Hashtag do not sit on Roar.
Hashtag Roar doesn't want to be touched, thank you. But that'll do it for this episode, guys. And again, whew, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.
No. Fuck off.